Hi everyone, my name is Jeff and I'd like to thank you for buying this video. Whether you got the video from myself or from one of my distributors, I created this video so that people could see for themselves how to do their own hair replacement in their own homes using regular household products that are available to all of us. I've been researching the hair replacement industry for about 11 years now and experimenting with different ways and different types of doing things. One of the things that I've noticed over the years, especially in the beginning, is that when it comes to the hair replacement industry, what you see is a lot of times not what you get. There's before and after photographs in magazines and on television, and that show people with really natural looking hair replacement units on, and they don't really tell you exactly how they're going about doing that, and you go there to try to get one, and that's not what they sell you. They end up selling you something that's thick and unnatural looking. And so what I've done is gotten together with other people who've been doing their own hair replacement, and we've exchanged some ideas, and we've done a lot of experimenting over especially the last few years. And we have found ways of getting that natural look at the maximum benefit as far as price, and I figured it's time to share that with others. So that's the purpose of this video, is to show you how I do it, and to encourage you to do your own hair replacement and save yourself thousands and thousands of dollars a year, and at the same time save yourself the aggravation of having to go and be under the control of somebody else and not looking as natural as you can if you do this yourself. So once again, I'd like to thank you for buying this video, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's work on making a template. Now, the factory that's going to be making the hair system needs the template so that they can not only get the shape of your scalp area that they're going to be molding the base of this thing to, but also the coverage area where it's going to go and the shape of the front. So what you're going to want to do first is take and wet your scalp down. Some places tell you can send in measurements, but I'm telling you, you're a lot better off if you just make a template and send that in. If they give you a fitting kit that you can use that. Otherwise, make a template. Now, I got some plastic wrap that I pulled out. It's about, I don't know, shoulder width. I'll just pull it out to about shoulder width and then chop it off. And of course, it's cling wrap, and cling wrap has a tendency to stick, as you can see. That's the purpose of wetting down our scalp. So we'll just take this big mess here and put it up there and start straightening it out. First thing I'll do is I'll take these extra long ends and tie it down underneath my chin. Nice and snug there. Now you'll see where the use of the water on the scalp comes into play here. Makes it a lot easier to roll this stuff back out after it clings together. And it always seems to have that tendency to want to cling, so that's why we get the scalp wet. That makes it a lot easier for us to control our situation there. And so just smooth it out so that it's about as flat as you can get it and nice and tight on your scalp, and then we'll take our black marker and we'll start drawing out the coverage area as far as the back and the sides. I always like to start in the back and the sides first because it seems to just be a little bit easier to start there. So we'll just kind of draw this back. Now, one thing that I can tell you is I don't really try to get it absolutely positively perfect when I'm drawing it out, because I like mine to be just a tiny bit shorter, and this is just a personal thing that I do. You don't have to do it this way. I like mine to be just a tiny bit smaller than what my coverage area actually is, because I like to take mine and stretch it out so that it fits skin tight. So if I make it so that it fits exactly to my coverage area, then it's not going to be stretched out at all. It's just going to lay down on there, and just be sitting there perfectly. So if I make it just a tiny, tiny, tiny bit smaller than my coverage area, then I'm going to stretch it out when I go to put it on. It's going to be a skin tight fit, and there's going to be absolutely no wrinkles in it, and it's going to really, really help so that you cannot feel an edge on it. Okay, so I've got that all drawn out, and like I say, I take that and adjust it just a little bit. I probably could have made that a little bit more accurately there. And we'll just go and kind of redo that. Okay, that's good. Let's color that in. Okay. Now we're going to draw the front. Now, in order to draw the front, where do you start? That's the big question. How far down should I have my hairline? One thing you don't want your hairline coming way down to here. It just doesn't make any sense. The rule of thumb for most people, take 3 fingers and put them up to your eyebrows, and at the very top of the 3rd finger is where about the hairline should start. That'll give you a much more natural look. The 3-finger rule is just a rule of thumb. Some people might want to go 2 fingers. If you want your hairline to start down that low, then I guess that's just a personal preference. But most people's hairlines, if you take a look, they've got at least 3 fingers worth of bare forehead before their hairline starts. So take your 3 fingers, put the marker up into the middle at the very, very top of where your highest finger is. And now when you go to draw the front, don't be afraid to put a big V shape in there instead of a straight line going across. A straight line going across looks totally and completely unnatural, and you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how this right here, this V that I'm drawing, looks once you've got a hair system that's built like this, that has hair in it. You'll be surprised how much it really doesn't look as much like a V as what this is. A good natural hairline doesn't necessarily go straight across like that unless you have a whole lot of hair up into your temple area. So don't be afraid to put a little bit of contour in there, at least with the A contour tapes that you can see on the websites, which have the most V shape in them, or the most skinniest spear shape in them. Okay, so after you've drawn the hairline out, you're going to want to take and mark the front of it with an F. So we'll just go ahead and do that now. And you're also going to want to take and put your name on it. And in my case, I can just put my name on here real quick. And I normally would put my last name on there, but we don't need to go through all that. Now, and you can mark the back of it too with the letter B if you want to do that too, just so that they know for sure where exactly the front and the back of the unit is. Okay? So you got your front, you got your back, you got your name on there. Now it's time to start reinforcing this thing with tape. Now I'll just take this regular tape that you can find all over the place. It's just regular width and thin thickness, and just put some right across the very front. You might as well tear out a whole bunch of these and just get ready to start putting them on there, because the more of these that you put on there, the better. This is going to reinforce the shape of this thing. And you might think that this is kind of a cheesy way to do this, but that's all that the factory needs. They don't need you to take and make all of these plaster molds and plaster castings and everything. Some saran wrap reinforced with some tape, the shape drawn out, is all that you need. So we'll just take our tape and just go all the way from the front to the back. Like I say, the more of these that you put on there, the better. So it's going to keep its shape really well while it's being shipped. Now, I'm actually going to be using 2 different kinds of tape. My first layer of tape, like I said, it's the tape that's a little bit skinnier in width and it's extremely thin in thickness. The thickness of the tape this way is very, very, very important, that you don't get one that's too thick, because if you get a tape that's really thick, it has a tendency to take the plastic and sort of shrink it. And then your template is a lot smaller than what you intended, which is something that we don't want. A little bit smaller maybe, because you can take just about any base that they make them out of, whether it be lace, mono, a skin base. You can take any base that they make and stretch it just a little bit to fit. If you order it just a tiny bit undersized, you know, I'm talking 3 millimeters undersized or 1/8 of an inch. Okay, I got plenty of this tape on now. I think I'll start using my wider tape so that this job goes a little bit faster. But like I say, the only thing about these wider tapes, these wider shipping tapes, just make sure that it's really, really thin. If you can't get the really, really thin ones, then just lay down a layer of the thin, skinnier tape that I was using earlier first, so that that will reinforce it enough that the wider, thicker tape will be unable to shrink the template. You can buy tape online, you can buy it down at the store, you can buy it wherever you want to buy it at. You can go to stores that have office supplies and find all different kinds of tapes down there, shipping tape too. You can find different thicknesses, and if you can find one that's nice and wide for you, that's also nice and thin in thickness, then that's great. Okay. So we've got our template all reinforced. Like I say, normally I would put a lot more on here, but we don't need to necessarily go through all that. Showing you that. Just put one more on the very front here. So you've got it marked with your name. You've got the front and back of it marked. Your head's probably kind of sweaty by now and tired of having this thing on, so go ahead and take it off. Now, see how having that tape on there helps to keep the contour, you know. It keeps it looking just like the shape of my own scalp is on there. So now at this point you can take and get your scissors out and trim around where you drew it, and they'll make it to whatever you trim it to with your scissors. So, and if you want, you can put it back on after you've trimmed it and just realign it and maybe trim some more off of it, you know. And that's all that you have to do. And take this and send it in with your order. Put it in, you know, a small box. Don't try to just put it in an envelope. Put it in a small box that's thick enough that the template lays in there without getting flattened out. Send that in with your order and you should be all set.